Okay, so this is to help people. For those of you who want to know what's rude and what's not, you may be new to the country, to the US or other countries. You're not quite sure how to navigate things with the different races and the different cultures. And so, genuinely, you don't know, and you're not trying to be rude. This is who I'm making this for. For those of you that know exactly what you're doing, you are being rude on purpose to get this other person to emotionally respond to you, to give you some type of feedback or emotional reaction. This is not for you. And plus, we see through you. We know what you're doing. Yes, yes, we know exactly what you're doing. For those of you that are trying to get this emotional response by saying this super rude, mean stuff, yes, we are on to you. Those of us that are intelligent, we get it, and we're not operating on those low frequencies. So, really quick, let's do Asian people. Not all Asian people are Chinese. You get it? Not all Asian people eat dog. It is rude to ask an Asian person if they eat dog. If an Asian person is offering you food and you're afraid that dog is part of the ingredients, simply ask them, what are the ingredients? Or just say no, thank you. It's really very simple. And you know what else? Not all Asian people are good at math and science. Some Asian people are laborers and workers and just regular people. Not all Asian people are coding and, doing all of this extra super technical stuff. You have some Asian people that's just working regular jobs and living regular in poverty, mediocre lives. They're hoping for their children to have a better life, probably. But not all Asian people are good at math and science. Not all Asian people can speak their language. Factor in that some Asian people grew up in said countries and never, ever spoke or have written any type of Asian language, Chinese, Japanese, anything. They don't know anything other than where they grew up. And yes, they're Asian, but they're part of that area where they grew up, where they're from. So the UK, the United States, the Dominican Republic, wherever these people are from and touch down their children, they may not have passed that down to their children. So no, not all Asian people know their cultural language. Okay, so moving on, Black Americans, or let's just say Black people. Not all Black people claim Black. So some people say they're Latina, African, Afro, whatever. You know, Black Americans, they have their own culture. Black people from Africa, and depending on where they are in Africa, they have their own culture. Not all Black Americans have been to prison. Not all Black Americans are lazy. Not all Black Americans hate other immigrants from other countries. Black Americans actually are the most forgiving people ever. Look at what we've forgiven so far. Black American people are not all rappers, dancers, video vixens, thugs, gangsters, prostitutes. Some Black Americans are doctors, lawyers, engineers, or just simply hardworking people. Some Black Americans grow up in the ghetto, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have ghetto ways. Some Black Americans have never grown up in the ghetto and don't know anything ghetto. Not all people from the ghetto are mean, evil, robber, killer, hateful, prison bound people. Some people that grew up in the ghetto become very rich. Not all Black Americans are baby mamas and baby daddies. Some are wives and husbands with children. Not all Black Americans rob people. Not all Black Americans sag their pants. Not all Black American women wear a weave. And the ones that do, if it looks nice, you don't have to ask them if they have weave. And even if you think that they do and it doesn't look nice, you still don't have to say anything. Not all Black American women are prostitutes or loud, smacking lips, hateful, and evil. No. Do you know that anyone has a capacity to be mean and hateful? Not all Black American women are on welfare, food stamps, or Section 8. Not all Black American women grew up without their fathers. Some actually have fathers active in their lives. Some Black American women have seen examples of good, productive Black American men in their lives. Yes, it's true. Not all people from African nations are Nigerians. There are many different types of African people, but we'll just use Nigerians, seeing that that's the premise we're talking about on this channel. Not all Nigerian people are 419 scammers. Not all people from Africa grew up without electricity or shoes. Not all African people know how to tame a lion or a giraffe, elephant, bear, whatever, and wild animal. Not all African people are the same as those little orphans in those videos and infomercials that we saw growing up. There are many, many, many African people that are doing well. But not all African people are doing well. It is rude. It is rude to ask a person from if they lived in a hut or any other weird, crazy question. If they're standing before you, clothed, why would you ask them, do they run around naked? Don't you think that's rude? If you've never traveled to Africa, but you want a person to give you step-by-step observation, visuals of Africa, Go to Google Maps. Don't walk up to the random person that happens to be African in your grocery store and ask them if they grew up with electricity or shoes or if they lived in a hut. Don't you see how rude that is? Again, I did not make this for people that know they're being rude. If you wouldn't ask your mom or your dad or anyone else close to you these questions, why ask a total stranger or a person that you consider to be your friend? Or even worse, a person you're about to marry or were planning to get married to? Why would you say these rude things to them? This is a stereotypes that anyone with common sense would know does not apply to an entire group of people. Are you being rude